Let's say it now. Hello, we're live right now. Welcome,
Hi.
welcome, welcome, everyone. Let me know where you're connecting from. Let me have your name and your city, your state, where you're connecting from. You're welcome today and welcome. We welcome our guests who is in here with us, Dr. Paulette Williams by name. But before we start, we're going to our discussion properly. I'll just go in straight to tell you what the show is all about so you have an understanding what we're doing this evening. Hi, you're welcome to Making a Difference with Sandra Ukoh. I believe there's a giant in you waiting to be discovered and a nest. You have within you right now all that you need to become that change agent and the best version of yourself that God has made you to be. It is time to ignite you and discover your greater potential and to see the possibilities that exist within you to help you maximize your potential through this unique platform for mentoring, training, teaching, and coaching people on how they can become better versions of themselves after being through trauma, trial in their life in the area of the finances, life, business, ministry, career, relationship, marriage, and a lot more. At Making a Difference with Sandra Ukoh live show, we leverage the power of storytelling, coaching, and mentorship and value creation to help bring about the best in people in order to create a world of difference. This show requires bringing us to assessing our value system and process of recreation of a good value system to help shape our thoughts through the guests that we bring on this live show to share their story. Just like we rightly have this evening, we're going to be having a guest with us telling us her story, how she's been through life, and what is making her tick, standing out in her world. This process opens our eyes to new strategies, information, valuable perspectives that will help us define and refine our value system with more clarity on knowing our why. Why are we here? We need to know why we're here. What have I been called to do? What problem have I been created to solve? I want to thank you for being on this show today. And I just go straight in by introducing myself. My name is Sandra Ukoh. I'm a Maxwell Leadership Certified Team member. That is a speaker, a trainer, and a coach. I'm also an author of the book Can Anything Hold You Back? Also, your stays as part of over 20 years. I've been in the IT industry selling IT. So, and I just thought of running some series about my sales journey and how I have been through. And today we have a guest who is there to tell us a story so we can glean from her, learn from her. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. Some people have been ahead of us. They've gone through it, they've made mistakes. This time around, we want to learn from them so that we do not have to fall into those same pitfalls they fell into it in time past. And today we have Dr. Williams. I'm just going to be reading about Dr. Paulette Williams is an award-winning speaker, author, retired nursing professor, awesome, founder of Coach with Dr. Paulette and distinguished Toastmaster. Dr. Williams was over 50 years of healthcare experience as an administrator, educator, a researcher, and a clinician. Retiring as a lieutenant colonel. Wow. She served 23 years as an army nurse, leading change, overseeing multi-million dollar projects, and managing diverse healthcare delivery systems. After retirement, she became the director of nursing administration, master's program at the University of Hawaii School of Nursing. Awesome. After retiring as an educator, Dr. Williams began another career as a transformational coach, shifting our clients from contemplation to focused, inspired action. Awesome, awesome, awesome. That's a great word. And today we have a guest with us, Dr. Paulette Williams. Wow. Awesome. Great to have you, ma'am. So great
Thank
to have
you
you
so
this,
much, Sandra, for having me. It is
you
a
know.
pleasure to be with you today.
Sure, everything worked out, against us meeting. We have shifted this meeting severally, and I'm excited, we are having it right now. I
I
think there's
know.
something much more to it,
We
you
can
know.
see that we are two very, very busy women, and to get it all coordinated took quite a bit of an effort, but we did it, and we're here today, and
Awesome.
I am ready to inspire your audience.
Wow, that's awesome. So let's just go into it. One of the reasons I come together, with other team members to see that we have this show is just that we can be an impact to our generation. Because I often tell people, I said the richest place where you have so much ideas that people did not harness or use is the graveyard. A lot of people have so much skills in them and they died with it. They didn't pass it on. We are yet to, end the baton to all the generations. We are not yet to, hand over battles to them, but we want to give them the baton, something to run with. And so that's why we're here, coming to discuss how we've been through life, what has made a difference in our world. Life was never promised to be a journey, a bed of roses. There's going to be ups and downs, but in the midst of it all, God always comes through and we become stronger. And sometimes we go through these things because God is preparing us to teach all the people coming behind us who are going through the same kind of trauma. And that's why I do not take this for granted. I knew it was pretty difficult getting you, but I'm glad that today it's a success. Thank you so much for making that time out of your busy schedule. Thank you. And basically, I want to find out what informed you to going to college. What informed you to all you've been doing? Because, we transit from one business to the other. There must be something that has kept you going. Can you tell us to share your story in that area?
Well, the story goes back many, many years. I was born with parents who, my father was illiterate. He wrote an X for his name. And my mother only had a seventh grade education because she was the oldest of seven siblings. And as the oldest daughter, she started taking care of her family at 10 years old. However, I feel as if I had a very,
Sorry.
very rich background because we lived on a farm. And I can remember the days in which I would go and be in the fields with my father and being able to touch the soil and to be able to see him plant a seed, and then 2 months later then there would be crop that we could gather and which we fed ourselves on. So what inspired me to go to school is that at the age of 7 I decided that I wanted to be a nurse, and I started to take care of all the animals in the house and my parents and whoever would just let me just dab their face or give them a bath or whatever it took, as far as I was taking care of them. And at the age of 17, I was on my way to college. And by
Wow.
19, I was an RN. And I've had some beautiful experiences being a nurse. Some of them, although were not the best when we see someone make their transition in life. However, we know that at that moment was their time to make that transition. And I've also had beautiful moments in which you see a newborn baby born, or you do have a patient who have a cardiac arrest, and then we're able to revive them, and then to be able to talk to that person and get the feeling of that experience of having their heart to stop beating and then be able to give that second life. So I have enjoyed my 50 plus years as a nurse. And what I am doing now is using a lot of that experience and being a transformational coach. I know that was a long answer to a very short question.
Yeah, but that's awesome. I was just, going along with you. That's awesome. Over 50 years plus, that's great. And being very consistent. Consistency is the key. We have a lot of these youth, up in here and there. And sometimes it's good to build a structure, build consistency. And that's why I tell people, I said, sometimes we go to school is for exposure, to network, to increase our intellectual capacity, and to also learn from others. And what I meant by college mustn't be a four wall of school. The other kind of informal school, you learn how to, maybe you want to become a cook, you go learn how to, it might not be you, that might not be college for you, but at least you are learning something. I meant somebody wants to become a car repairer or a tire person or a business person, you just learn one or two informal trade just for you to get skilled, know how the business is being done, know how the accounting of your business will be at the back end, so that you know when you're making profit and when you're not making profit. But there is need to keep learning. It's only a dead man that stops learning. The moment you stop learning, you're preparing to get.
I totally agree with you because even if you are in a profession, you still have to keep current. Like healthcare has changed so much over the 50 years that I've been a nurse. And if I was still stuck back where I was at the very beginning, then
You'll
I
have been
would.
left back.
Yes, that is so true. That is so true. So I went to school as a nurse and got the 2-year degree, became an RN, started working. And then the one interesting story is how I joined the military, because there was one male in my class. And at the very end of class, he says, "Guess what, Paula? I'm going to the recruiter today. I'm going to join the Army." And I says, "Well, can I go along with you?" And he says, "Of
Huh.
course." So I went with him, and I was so excited. I couldn't wait to call my mom and say, "Mom, guess what? I am joining the military." And she says, "Paulette, good girls don't join the military."
Wow.
And so, what good girls do is get married and start a family. So, since my mother said that to me, I got married and started a family. But my mother, sadly to say, passed away. And when she did, I had, I still had an opportunity to join the military. So, I was 34 when I joined the military. But the best thing about that, they gave me credit for my nursing experience. I had over 12, 14 years of nursing experience. So they brought me in as a major. So that was
Wow.
a beautiful experience in one sense. But of course, there's always two sides to any story. I had to I had to really fake it until I made it as to what a field grade officer is supposed to be and do. And the funniest thing is watching me salute. Oh my gracious. I had to
Wow.
learn that one, that's for sure.
My dad was a military person too. I love to be in the military because I never knew that, it's age limited. I went when I was like 35. My my granddad from my mother's side was also in the military. My father was in the military. My last brother is also in the military. We are a military family. I love to be in the military. But time, I don't know what happened, but I never joined. But that's awesome. Beautiful. And I love what you did. You were obedient because you could have told your mom, "Oh my God, I'm old enough to take care of myself. Why would you tell me good girls get married?" But you honored her. I'm sure
I
wherever she is, she's smiling, she's happy that you gave her, you did listen to her. You got a family. And guess what? Everything was working together for your good. Maybe
mhm,
if you had joined very early in life, it would have been tedious for you. You'd have gone through the rigors because I know that people who join very early, they go through the very low ranks and they have to work so hard. But you never know what God was doing for you. You got in as a major, an officer. So you were up there. Everybody would, be looking up to you. She's an officer. That's a
mhm,
great one. That's an
mhm.
applaud for her. Wherever she is now, I'm sure she's excited that you did what she wanted. No, sincerely,
Well,
it's
it's so funny. It
it's a
took my
joy when a parent sees their children listen to them, do what they want and what they pray for. Because
mhm,
you don't choose your parents. You don't choose the kind of children you want to have. God gave them to you. You don't choose the country you want to come from. You just find yourself, oh, this is where I find myself and this is what I am. But listening to them is giving honor to them.
mhm,
You understand? And there is no one who will not be joyful to see his or her child doing what they pray and what they plan for them. Because even as parents, we have all the plans. We have plans for our children. God has all the plans too for them. God has, the bigger plan. But as a parent who is able to plug into what God wants for them, you are able to guide your children, to go in the path of God. And that's why as parents, we need to find out what God, we are accountability. We are going to be given an accountability on these children. So the way you lead them, the way you train them really matters. So for your mom to be available to help, to do and guide you along the journey to life, that was a great one. Some
mhm,
people in the side of the world either have one parent or not even having both parents. But it's a joy and a thing to rejoice when you have both parents, bringing
mhm,
you up. So, but this is just to encourage any other person and anyone watching us, even when you do not have your physical or biological parents, you could plug in, get a mentor, get someone to, guide you through life. We are
Mhm.
not an island of knowledge. We glean from each other. Just like myself and Dr. Paulette, we learn from each other. No one is an island of knowledge, and no one has gotten there. The moment you say you've gotten there, you think you're done learning. That's the beginning of your, dying. You start dying gradually. Your cells start going down. But learning, you keep learning. Learning is never ending. So I want to thank you. That was awesome, joining the military and, all the rigors you went through. I'm sure you have more stories to tell us. And how did you manage over time? I'm sure, how did you manage when you had low moments? I'm sure when you joined the military, there are times things went bad, really bad for you. That how did you go through those low moments? And when you had high moments, how did you manage? One of the reasons I'm asking this question is just to inform people. Life is not, promised to be bed of roses all the way. It could be good all the way and later on bad, later on good. But going through those process, it's a training ground to bringing out the best in you. So I want you to, share your story with us. How did you go through those moments and how did God come true for you?
Well, as I had mentioned, I did get married. I got married about when I was about 21, I believe. And 2 years later, we had our first son. However, my husband was abusive. So I'm a survivor of domestic violence.
Wow.
And I had to make that
So
decision as
sorry.
to whether or not to stay in the marriage or to leave the marriage. What made me truly decide was when my son was 2 years old and my husband began to say to him, Mom, look at your mom. She's just so dumb and stupid. Look how dumb and stupid she is. And I thought that I could take the physical abuse. I thought that I could take the mental abuse. But when it came to telling my son how terrible I was as a person, I did not want my son to grow up in an environment like that. And so that's when I decided that when my son was just two, to move out of the house and get a divorce. It was a difficult decision because no one in my family had ever gotten a divorce. When my
Oh,
mother found out that I was leaving my husband, she was very upset with me. And she told me, when you make your bed hard, you must lay in it. And I knew that I didn't, for myself, I thought I could lay in it, but I realized that if I stayed in the marriage, I probably wouldn't live to be 40. And I figured that for my son and myself, the best thing for me to do was to get out of the marriage. And that's what I did. Was it difficult? Yes, because my mother, for a whole year, did not come to see me. She would not come and visit me. She was just that upset with me because I had left my husband. And I know that I may be speaking to women out there that is either a survivor of domestic violence or maybe going through it right now. It's a difficult time in your life. And one of the things that I noticed about myself was I didn't truly love myself. So I had to begin to really love myself and feel as if I was someone because I was the mother of a son. And I wanted to make sure that he did not experience this type of abuse because I didn't want it to pass on to another generation. I'm very proud to say my son now is in his 50s. He has
wow.
been married for over 20 years. He's got two
Awesome.
beautiful children, and he is what I call the essence of love. He's a big teddy bear, big in the fact that he's tall, and he just have a loving heart. When you're around him, you really feel at peace. And he gets that from my mom, and I also have that inner peace as well. I always tell people, if you have a baby, just give me the baby that's crying. and I put him on my chest, and the baby just falls asleep. So
Mm.
having that inner peace is beautiful, and my son has that. There is no violence in his family whatsoever. And if you have a dispute, you talk it out versus acting it out physically. And so I made it through that. But one of the things is I was blessed with the fact that I had a career. I was a nurse. So I had the financial resources to take care of myself. And I know that many women may not have those financial resources. I feel as if it's important, even in a marriage, to be financially independent so that if something does happen, it doesn't have to be a divorce, it could be an illness or death, that you will be able to take care of yourself. And so that you are an equal in your relationship versus a hierarchy. Women are needs to be more empowered, and women are becoming more and more empowered. But first of all, that empowerment comes with knowing who you are as a person, to
Sure.
really begin to love yourself as a person, and to do the things that you know in your heart is right.
Yeah, awesome. I love what you did say. You know, women needs to be independent as much as possible. Be empowered. Get yourself doing something. Should there be any, eventuality, you never know what tomorrow holds. So that you're able to stand, like you rightly said. And if you're being abused, it's only a living dog that is better than a dead lion. If you're being abused and you leave this earth, sorry, your husband will move on with his life or your spouse. And that's why I say what you rightly did was good because you would have continued the generation of being abusive. Your son probably would have taken it up from his dad. And there's really nothing you can do much except counseling and praying because he's been exposed to it, what he has seen growing up. Picture really registers in their memory. You think these kids are kids, but they know so much. They see beyond, the handwriting on the walls, and they're very smart. The
Mhm.
generation we have now are, a smarter generation. They see everything. If you,
Thanks.
and I'm glad you never allowed him to be exposed to that. So sorry, I never knew, but that was a good one. You were able to go through this process, and you were still strong. Some ladies, that's the beginning of their downfall. But picking up yourself and rising up. And that's where the self love comes. You must love yourself. No one can love you as much as you do love yourself. Yes, Christ loves everyone, He loves us. But we must extend that love. We must allow that love to seep into our hearts. We must see ourselves and love ourselves. And that's why I said, you must know yourself to grow yourself. You
Mhm.
must, value yourself. It's the value you put in yourself that people see and value you in return. If you do not value yourself, people will downtrod on you. People will look down on you. So as much as we try to live life, let us be as first cheerleader. You have to cheer yourself. You have to be happy. You have to look for everything to make you happy. Because I know that a lot of times happiness is based on the things happening around. So when things turn around bad, you want to tend to become, the other, the opposite of being happy, sad. But as much as that, we need to connect with God, who
Mhm.
gives us joy. The joy comes from the inside. Beyond anything negative that's happening around you, you are still joyful. You're still thankful because that's the only thing that can keep you going. Once there's no inner peace in you, you are miserable. Everything will begin to go wrong because there is no peace in and within you. So you need to settle it first inward before settling the outward.
And
Automatic.
one of the ways that I recommend to some of my clients is begin by doing mirror work. That is to look at yourself in your eyes in the mirror and to
Yeah.
tell yourself, I love you. And you will realize when you first started doing it, oh, you can see the wrinkles, you can see the frowns, you can see all the flaws in you, but just continue to do it until you begin to believe when you look in the mirror and those eyes say to you, I love you, that you begin to believe it. And as you begin to believe it, you will realize that the whole world begin to look differently around you. You begin to see the beauty and other things as well as you begin to see the beauty and love within yourself.
Sure. Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much. That was a great one. He opened so many other aspects I didn't even plan to talk about, but that's a great one. Loving yourself is key. Self-talk. You need to, like she so rightly said, look at yourself in the mirror and command your morning, command your day. Tell your day, say what you expect for from the day. You know, plan your day, right? Have
You
an
know, one of
agenda.
the things that you were talking about was continual learning. And right now, I'm in a program that's called Positive Intelligence. So if anyone is interested, you could just Google positiveintelligence.com. And that is building up the muscles in your brain so that you'll be feeling more fulfilled and really experiencing life versus letting life pass you by. I know that our world is focused a lot on money and they feel that money will create happiness. But as many of you have heard this old saying says, happiness is an inside job. And so again, it starts from within in order to build happiness. The things that truly make me happy is when I can talk with someone and feel their soul and be able to communicate with them at that level to bring them into a place that when I leave them, they're in much better spirits than when I found them. An example of that, just last Monday, I had lunch with this person who had had a partial shoulder replacement. And when she walked into the restaurant, she was really looking really sad and down. And I says, "How are you today?" And she says, "Well, it took a lot of effort for me to come because I'm in a lot of pain." But as we continued to talk, by the time we had finished lunch, she was just glowing. She was in such a happy
Wow.
mood. And so those are the things that make me happy, to see that I can make a difference in someone else's lives. If it's just one person at a time, then I am happy.
Awesome. We are a people of value, valuing others and adding value to others. And that's what you just rightly said. It's beyond success, is beyond amassing all the wealth. Success is, being able to extend to others, being a blessing to others. I spoke with someone recently and I said, when you say someone is wealthy, it's not how much the person has in an account, but how much the person is able to give out. How much life has he been able to touch? That's success for me. How much of those things have you been able to do? Because we are meant to go out there to bring others to God. Once we share this love, share this goodness, it's like a chain reaction. I affect you positively, you affect others positively. We have a world of difference. The world will become a better place to live. Rather than you just keeping everything you have to yourself, you won't grow. It is said the Dead Sea water is called the Dead Sea water because the water doesn't flow to others. It is stagnant. So it smells, it stinks. So when you flow to others, you never run dry. You're strengthening, you're refreshed. So we're meant to, pour out on others. As much knowledge you have inside of you, you need to share it, you need to impact your world. And that's what Dr. Paulette Williams is here to do with us today. She's pouring out of her wealth of knowledge, being in the nursing field for 50 years. Oh, God, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's consistency. It takes a lot of consistency, diligence, discipline, and intentionality to be in a particular field for 50 years, and still keep going and, you still find joy in doing that same job. It shows that there is a lot of passion for you to have done nothing. That may just be your what God has designed for you. Tell a lot of people, find out what you can do, such that even if you're not being paid, when you're sleeping and they call upon you, you can do it with no struggle. You can do it happy. You can get fulfilled. Find out what you're called to do, and
Then
that's where
you know that that's your passion.
yes,
When you get up in the morning, you're thinking about it, and it's the last thing on your mind when you go to sleep. And you're passionate about it. I mean, when you talk about it, you light up. So you know that that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
As you had mentioned at the very beginning, so many people go to their graves and not ever actualizing their passion.
Yeah.
They get stuck and think that this is how they need to do it. This is how they need to make money. But if they would just release what they have inside of them, the money will flow. And that's one thing about money. If you hold on to it, that's all you're going to have. But it just has to continue to flow. And the
Yeah.
more you allow it to flow, the more it will be flowing back to you as well. And if our attention is not on the money, it's on our passion. Then, like when you say, "Well, I have a job, but it's not work because I it just fills me so much." If you have your business, it's not hard work because it's you're loving what you do. And I
Sure.
know that many of you have had something that you're working on and you says, "Oh, it's time to go to bed." And then you say, you look at the clock and it's 2 o'clock. Oh, I got to go to bed. And you're just so involved in it that you just want to keep on going. That's that burning passion within you that's driving you to just be your best. And when you find that passion, just take that leap of faith, knowing that it's the right thing to do. And
Yeah.
the pieces will just start falling into place in order to support you along the way.
Sure, that's it. Money might not come in the very first, season of it, but as you go on doing what you know how to do, people will start recognizing you and people will start referring you, and money will come thereafter. And you'll be happy that you're doing what you love to do and you're getting paid for it. You understand? And that's what happened to me most times. Most times I go to bed because I need to at least rest the body God gave me. Sometimes 1 o'clock, two, I'm downstairs. My husband will like, you don't want to sleep? Or you want me to get the bed downstairs for you to sleep? And I'm like, oh, it's already 12. Let me shut. And I have to be intentional now that I want to put up a plan such that once it's 11:30, 12, I must at least have 6 hours of sleep. That's because, I found passion on in what I do. So I don't need to be told. I can be here all day in my study, reading and writing and journaling because that's what I love to do. So find out what your passions are. When you find out what your passion, that's finding your why. Why are you here? Why did God leave you here? Because most of us, once the moment you give your life to Christ, then why didn't you just go to heaven and just keep worshiping Him? But there's a reason why God left us here for us to go out, to bring others, be a people of impact, reach out to the less privileged, reach out to people, be a blessing to them, show them the love of Christ, bring them to Christ too. That's the reason why we're here. And a lot of times we need to find out why we're here. That's why I said, what have you been created to solve? What problem has God made you to resolve, to solve? Once you know that, you're living a life of purpose. I spoke with someone recently. I said, it's not the amount of house you're able to buy or amounts of works you're going to get that God will reward you on. He's going to reward you on the lives you have touched, the lives you have, impacted. So let's be a people of value, seeing value in ourselves, having value in others, and valuing people. Value everyone you see. Whether they are not good, just value them. Show them love. And as you show them love, people in return, you sow love, love will come back to you. What you sow is what you reap. So in return, let's have that focus to say, okay, I want to be a blessing. I want to reach out to someone. Like John Maxwell will rightly say, he says, what he does every morning is he wakes up in the morning, he asks himself, who am I meant to show love to today? Who have you sent me to meet today, Lord? Show me. And before he goes to bed, he comes back to ask himself, who have I shown love to today? Who have I spoken the word today? We are called to impact others. Just as Christ came to impact us, we are meant to continue that same reaction, impacting our world. I just pray you find what your passion is. And should you have any challenge and you want to reach out to a coach, you can reach out to Dr. Paulette Williams. She's going to drop a social media handle here. And if you need to reach her, you can reach her through me if you can reach her on any of our platforms. And if you need help too, you can talk to me. I also help. I write books and I also guide people in writing because I believe everyone has a book in them. Everyone has a unique story in them. So check and look within. The year is fast coming to an end. You're probably thinking, oh, 2022 is just, but you can still do more. You can still do more. It's not yet over until it's over. So keep pushing. And as the year's coming to an end, you want to take some time to reflect and plan for 2023. This is a time for you to sit back, count your costs, count everything, see what you're doing right, see what you need to change. You need a mentor. If you do need a mentor, reach out to one of us. We're here to guide you. We're here. We've been guided by people. We have mentors that we are looking up to that are still speaking into our lives. So we are here to also assist you. I also want to find out from you, when you had great moments, how did you celebrate? Because I believe I tell people that one of the reasons when you have little success is good to celebrate so that you keep motivating yourself. It is said that motivation keeps you going, but discipline is what keeps you growing. So you need those little motivation to keep you going. So have you celebrated when you had great moments?
I do, but that was something that I had to learn because I watched my mom and I never really saw her celebrating. So it made me feel guilty if I wanted to do something nice for myself. But once I turned 50, I decided that I was going to start celebrating life. And now sometimes I think I go overboard. I had a birthday last month and I celebrated the whole month. I started
Mm.
off with going to the spa. Have you ever had an Asian body scrub? Well, I will say find a place in your city and have one.
Sure.
They scrub you in places that only your mother knew about. And but when you finish, your skin is so smooth and it's just awesome. So that was one of the things that I did for my birthday. And then the other thing that I did, I tell you a little secret. I am 76 years old and
Wow.
I went pole dancing. Now, if you want to get really a good body workout, then go and wrap yourself around that pole. And it is
That's
so
awesome.
much fun. It really is. And then it's very sensuous as well. And so do fun things, but it doesn't have to be outrageous. It can be something simple. Celebrate life every day. Be thankful for just the fact that you woke up and celebrate that. Thank you. Be grateful for the fact that you go into this parking lot, the parking lot is full, and all of a sudden there is a car that pulls out, you have a parking space. Just celebrate those little things that happen in life, and you realize that life will be moving along much more smoothly by
And
those little
easy.
simple celebrations. And basically what you're doing is being in a state of gratitude, being grateful for everything that is happening to you. And I had
Awesome.
mentioned something about positive intelligence. That's one way to build that positive, intelligent, mental wellness in your body is to be grateful and to be in align with what's going on around you. Yes, I was in the military for 23 years. I had a very full 23 years and I got into that busy mode. And I realize now that it's time to step back and smell the roses and really be present in the moment that you're in. Take time to think. Cut off all your devices so that you have just some quiet time to really meditate and think and contemplate versus always going. How can you live your passion if you're always busy doing all these other things and not
Mm.
making a decision as to whether or not the action that I'm getting ready to take, how is that in line with my life mission, the mission that God has put here for me to do? Just think about the things that you're getting ready to do. How does that align with your true mission? And it's okay, ladies, to say no. We don't have to say yes to everything
Everything.
that
No.
comes up. You can say
No.
no. And
Yeah.
I remember I have a sister that's older than I am. And she would call me up every now and then and ask for money. And I'm the one with two children. She's the one with no children. And yet I would give her money. And one day I said, no, I don't have money to give you. She says, oh, okay. And I says, my God, all these years, all I needed to say is no. And I learned that it's okay to say no. And if you say no, then they will find another opportunity. It's a way for them to build their independence by having to do it themselves. So it
Yeah.
is okay to say no to people versus always thinking that you have to do it. You got to do it. You got to do it. If you don't do it, it's not going to get done. Well, that's not true. I remember when I was getting ready to retire out of the military, and I was walking down the hall with the chief of staff, and we were in this conversation. I was saying that, I was getting ready to retire, but there are certain things I still had to do. And he says, well, Paula, when you take off that uniform, nobody will even remember you. And it was true, because I came back working as a contractor in the same position I had when I was on active duty. And I would walk down the hall and people would not even speak to me. But when I was in that uniform, good morning, ma'am. Hi, Colonel. And all this, they recognized me by uniform, but not the person I was. And so it was an eye opener for me, and it rang true. He said that the military really don't care about you. You're doing your job fine, but if you're gone, that's okay too. And I didn't realize that that was true until I pulled off the uniform and realized
Mm.
people were respecting the uniform more than they were respecting me as a person. So make sure that when you want the respect to come from within, not by the status that you have in
How about the
society.
accolades, the things you've done?
That is correct. That is so
Mm.
right. Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. That's a great one. That's a great one. I actually wanted to ask you what unique story do you have to share before we wrap, but you said it all. Except you have something you want to share. Do you have any
Mm.
unique story or something you've not said? Well, it's
I
been an awesome
I
time with
can't
you.
think of anything right off the top of my head.
No,
I
but
think
what you've said,
to summarize it all,
yeah,
I think the most important thing as the years have gone by is to be true to yourself, to make
sure,
sure that when you are interacting, come from a place of love, but also come from a place of trust and truth. Because if you, it's one thing about, I was hear this recently. If you tell a lie, then you have to keep up with that lie to make sure
sure.
that
So
you
many
tell
more
another lie
lies.
to cover that one up. So always speak the truth, because you can always remember what the truth is, but sometimes you get mixed up in your lies. So just come from a space of love, of caring, of empathy. When someone comes to you with an issue, be there present with them. You don't need to take it on, it's not your problem. Just be there for them. I think a lot of times when someone comes to you, then you want to fix it, fix it, fix it. No, because guess what? Everyone had the answer within them. And
Very
if you
true.
just be there with them, allow them to evolve so that they can be the true expression of themselves, not the person that you want them to be,
Mm.
but allow them to be who they were born on this earth to be. Give them that opportunity. So that's about all that I have to say, my dear.
Thank you so much. It's been a very great time speaking with you so much. I think I have to go back and watch this video over and over again. A lot to glean and learn from you. And I think that's one of the reasons why, in the last 1 or 2 weeks, we've been finding it very difficult to get a time like this. Things were working against us. But I believe there's so much you've said that we have to go back to watch the video again. Thank you so much for your time. And rightly, as you spoke about passion, I just have a word to wrap it up. He said there's definitely a direct connection between finding your passion and reaching your potential. Once you're able to find your passion, you will surely get to the end of your potential. You would, harness all the God that's put inside of you. So please, I'll repeat it again. There's definitely a direct connection between finding your passion and reaching your potential. I got this info from the 15 Invaluable Laws. It's a book everyone should have. It's the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. You
Mm.
need, there's a lot to glean, a lot of content, a lot of, materials to get into inside of you, a lot of things to learn. I want to thank our viewers too who have been with us in the last close to an hour. I want to say thank you to everyone. I want to thank you for your patience and I want to thank you for being with us. I also want to thank our guests for being here, Dr. Paulette Williams. I want to thank you for so much you said. I'm sure you have to go back to watch the video too. You said a lot, and I was really blessed. I got a lot from this session, and I'm sure a lot of our guests too have it too. Thank you so much. And this is what we meant by, having something in you and you spread into others, being a blessing to others. I didn't understand that. Share what God has given you. That's a skill that you have. Empathize with others. Get to, put yourself in their shoes. See how you can be a blessing to them, how you can drag them from the pit. Like you rightly said, you can't be giving and giving and giving all the time. Sometimes he said it is better to teach them how to fish. When they come over to you, show them how they can make their life better, rather than you being a God to them by giving them. The moment you keep giving them, they'll rather not go to God. They'll keep coming to you. But when you say no, sometimes they have to go back and find out what is it I'm not doing right? How do I get it right? So thank you so much, Smar. It was a great time having you on this show. And I I don't think I want to let you go, but we have to call this a day. Thank you so much for your time.
It has
And
been my pleasure being here. Thank you so much for inviting me, Sandra. And anytime you need another guest speaker, just let me know. I will be available for you.
yes, and also one thing I do, because I can't get to know everyone in the world. After a show like this, I always ask my speakers and my guests to refer me to other people they think have great stories. Yes, because when we come to share and glean from others, we become a wealth of knowledge. We gather so much and we're able to give to others. So I have learned a lot from you today. I'm not yet 76, but I'm 46. So I am 30 years way back. So I have gotten some information that I would have to wait for 30 years to get from you just in a jiffy. And that's why I said we glean from others. We learn from others who have been ahead of us, who have made mistakes in life, and they're telling us this is what I did that was not right. And I don't want you to go back and repeat those mistakes. That's what we do when we learn from others, when we listen to other people's story, when we hear them say how they've been through life. We learn from them so that we don't repeat the same mistakes they made. And our lives can be better. And we can get to our destination faster than we would normally have gotten. That's why I tell people, I say, God plants people in your journey to help you. And the earlier you discover who your destiny helpers are, the better for you. It makes life easier. It makes the journey easier because you're going to have turbulent moments. But when you have these
I agree with most of that, but one of the things that I've noticed in the way that children are being raised now is that parents will not allow them to make the mistake. They want to grab and protect them so tightly that by the time they become adults, they don't know how to handle situations because they haven't been given an opportunity.
true.
Like Johnny acts up at school, and the parents will go and say, "Oh no, my Johnny didn't do that. He blah 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 blah, and I want you to do this," versus allowing the child to experience when they make mistakes. Because when you make mistakes, that's when the learning takes place. Because then it's just like learning that a hot stove is a hot stove. You touch it and it's hot, and then you don't go back and touch it again.
You don't.
So therefore, we have to make the mistakes. And because guess what? We're not perfect. So we are bound to make mistakes. But when you do, then reflect on it and then say, well, how can I do this differently the next time? So that, you begin to be able to learn how to cope, you build your resilience, and that's how you succeed in life. But if you think you've never made a mistake, that you're perfect, then when something really happens, it's hard to
To recover.
to recover and learn that resilience. Yes.
Yeah, you just spoke about resilience. That's a great word. Like John Maxwell will always tell you, you learn so much in your failure than you would learn in your success. And if you have a lot of success going on for you, if you're not careful, you become prideful. It's about failure brings you back to the drawing board to ask you, what did I do wrong? How do I get better? He said, but if you bring both success and failure together, they keep you resilient. Because
Mhm.
as you fail, you try to get better in order for you to become successful. So it's a journey. And I want to just take 1 minute break before I tell a story of the butterfly. Like you just brought that to me, and I really do want to share it. You don't help your children not to go, help them through life and not giving them room to experience life themselves. Just a second, I'll be back.
Have you got a copy of this book, Can Anything Hold You Back? Subtitle, Making a Difference? You need to go get it now. We are called not to fit into the pattern of the world, but to stand out. These can only be achieved by being self-aware. This book is available now on Amazon.com and Jumaya.com as an ebook as well as a print book. It is also available for purchase on www.sandraukoh.com.
Thank you.
That was
Yeah, we're
beautiful.
back from the
That's
short break.
beautiful. I need to get a copy.
Yeah, you can get it on Amazon.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me just quickly tell you the story. It has to do with a butterfly. You know that sometimes the things we do either make or mar us. They either make us better or make us bitter or bad. And like the butterfly, there was a story that a butterfly at the pupal stage where the butterfly needs to, come out of the shell. Sometimes, we think helping people is just the best thing in life. Sometimes we need them to go through the struggle. This butterfly was being helped, and the shell was broken so that the butterfly can come out. Guess what happened at the end of it? The butterfly could not fly. The butterfly became like an ant. It has to crawl all its life. The reason being that when the butterfly struggled to come out of the shell, by so doing, the butterfly is building up the stamina and the strength for the wings to fly. Because the butterfly was helped out of its shell, the butterfly failed to go through that metamorphosis stage of its life. The butterfly came out of the shell and never able to fly like other butterflies. So in life, when we stop our children from going through the struggles, they become like the butterfly, the purple that cannot fly. Rather than they get into the highest of their peak, become the best versions of themselves, they just become ordinary people and they're just there. So sometimes it is good we allow them to go through the struggle. I have a video I will share with you. The video was so inspiring to me, talking about allowing our children going through struggles. Sometimes let them work. There was a particular day I was meant to pick up my son from school, and I told him, I don't look like your chauffeur or your driver. I come to school, you're nowhere to be found, you're not picking your calls. I have other things doing. I left him, and he had to work from school home. But yes, my friends will tell me what you did was wrong. But I said, he needs to learn. He needs to learn. If you keep going all the time, they ask for something, you give them. They would never know that sometimes those things sometimes don't come true easily. So allow them know and tell them to go and pray. Trust God for it. Otherwise, they see life like give, 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 give. You have to give. And the day you don't give it to them, they see you as a wicked parent. They don't understand that you are going through some phases or you don't have the funds to, give them what they need. But, allowing them to go through life, let them experience life themselves so they can become better parents, better leader in days to come. So I want to thank you. It's been very explosive. We've had close to 1 hour in this meeting. I have been so excited. I've been so full. And I want to thank you so much again. And I want to thank our viewers. Do have a blessed evening until we meet in our next episode. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.